What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners for today's 10-game NBA main slate, courtesy of Awesemo.com and presented by Super Draft. We've got ourselves a 10-game slate today, and one that looks a little bit tougher than you might expect, but we've got some good news in the form of me feeling slightly less like death. So let's get that power of positivity back in the air, and right now, please hit that like button if you want a chance to win a free month of Awesemo Plus courtesy of Super Draft. Like this video and comment your top value play down below. Yesterday, somebody did guess Boban correctly, so I'll announce that winner later on. But if you want a chance to join that person at the pay window, like this video and comment your top value play according to Draftkings salaries down below. But it still kind of hurts to talk, so we've got no time to waste here in the Four Corners. Let's get right into our first corner of the top owned plays, and Cody Zeller in a game at Denver. There's 99.5 implied points for Charlotte. Zeller has 38% expected ownership on Draftkings, while he has just 10% on FanDuel. Zeller has started recently, and his size should be needed against Denver, but he currently projects for high ownership largely because there's no quality value on DK, despite the size of today's slate. A more universal top owned play looks like Tobias Harris in a game versus Brooklyn, where there's 115 implied points for Philadelphia. Tobias is 29% expected ownership on Draftkings, while he has 42% on FanDuel. Tobias is at a reasonable price on all of the sites today, and he projects well, even though he has yet to spike a meaningful upside without Joel Embiid, despite an increase in usage and rebound opportunities. And his teammate Ben Simmons is also a top-owned play in that game versus Brooklyn, where there's 115 implied points for Philadelphia. Simmons is 28% expected ownership on Draftkings, while he has 36% on FanDuel. Simmons may be the better of the Philadelphia chalk with over 43.25 fantasy points in 4 out of his last 5 games and a pace-up spot against Brooklyn, whose defense gets appreciably worse with Kyrie Irving back on the floor. And now for our next corner, here are some of the top value plays on the slate, starting with Malcolm Brogdon in a game at Minnesota. There's 110.3 implied points for Indiana. Brogdon went for 46.25 fantasy points in 34 minutes as return to the lineup. And he may be back to his early season effectiveness, and a pace-up spot against the Minnesota defense would be worse if Karl-Anthony Towns is back too. Another top value on FanDuel in particular is Lauri Markkanen in a game versus Washington, where there's 117.5 implied points for Chicago. Markkanen is the current top value on FanDuel with a price that seems incredibly low for the pace-up spot against Washington, where Chicago is projected for 11.8 more points than their season scoring average. And another top value looks like Monty Morris in that game versus Charlotte, where there's 110.5 implied points for Denver. Morris is a decent value with questionable upside currently, but he'd be a chalk play of the day if the currently questionable Jamal Murray misses the game, despite the game having one of the lowest paces you'll find all year. And now for our next corner, here are the other core plays I'm looking at today, starting with Kemba Walker in a game versus Detroit, where there's 112.5 implied points for Boston. Kemba gets the biggest boost from Jason Tatum's absence with a boost to 1.4 fantasy points per minute in a matchup against Detroit's week 110 defensive rating. Another core play for me is De'Aaron Fox in the game versus Dallas, where there's 112 implied points for Sacramento. Fox has been near triple doubles in his last 2 games with 56.25 and 60.25 fantasy points against Orlando and Milwaukee. Now he faces a weaker Dallas team on a back-to-back. And our last of the core plays looks like CJ McCollum in a game at Houston, where there's 113.5 implied points for Portland. McCollum's price is reasonable for a pace-up spot against Houston on a back-to-back in a game where his scoring should be needed, even if his teammates like Damian Lillard or Carmelo Anthony contribute heavily with points. And now for our last corner, here are some lower-owned dart throws that I'm looking at, starting with Zach LaVine in a game versus Washington, where there's 117.5 implied points for Chicago. LaVine has been between 33 and 36% usage lately, with a 56.5 fantasy point game against the much tougher Indiana defense in that stretch. So while he'll have some ownership at his FanDuel price, his elevated Draftkings salary makes him look intriguing at low ownership. Another lower-owned dart throw that I'll be looking at is Enes Kanter in that game versus Detroit, where there's 112.5 implied points for Boston. Kanter averages 1.5 fantasy points per minute when on the court with Kemba Walker with no Jason Tatum. He's had big games against Andre Drummond in the past and could see a boost if Daniel Tice misses again. And my last low-owned dart throw is the guy going against him, Andre Drummond, in the game at Boston, where there's 103.5 implied points for Detroit. Drummond played just 22 minutes last game as Jahlil Okafor ate his lunch, but he still had 36.5 fantasy points with 35% usage. He could get back on track with his price down if the trade rumors haven't totally ruined him in Detroit. So that's what it looks like so far for today's 10-game slate. So right now, please hit that like button if you want that chance to win a free month of Awesemo Plus courtesy of Super Draft. Like this video and comment your top value play according to Draftkings salaries down below. In yesterday's video, only one guy guessed Boban correctly as the top value. You can see him right here, Wade Winningman. So Wade, email me at chris@awesemo.com to collect your prize right now. And as always, those free months of Awesemo Plus come courtesy of Super Draft. So right now, head over to superdraft.io. If you use the promo code Awesemo on there, you can get yourself $20 with a deposit of $100 or more. So go right now to superdraft.io and step into the future of DFS with their multiple multiplier tournament style where you don't even have to know salaries. Just pick your guys and go. Over at superdraft.io, no limits, only winning. And for a slate this big, some data may help, so use this promo code Switch and Hedge for half off your first week of Osmo Plus. Go to osmo.com/join to use that promo code or find packages as low as $3.95 a week. So go to osmo.com/join right now and find a package that'll work for you. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. If you're following me on those, you would have seen a fun anecdote from my morning involving a nude homeless man in a wheelchair and my little Labrador Callie back there. So check me out right now on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. Assuming my throat holds up, I'll be back on Live Before Lock later today with Fast Eddie Fear filling in for the Chubbs for Josh Engelman. So tune in then. Of course, I'll be back with you guys tomorrow for another Four Corners. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a great night. And as always, good luck.